Starting your week off right, recapping the weekend events, the good, the bad, and everything in between. We go! The Wake Up Call on X104.3 FM.
That's right, the good, the bad, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Now, concerning the economic state of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, IMF has warned of economic collapse in poor countries of the world. Those poor countries, those poor nations, those poor places include St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, are things going to get worse? Are they going to continue along the same thread that we're going now? Are we going up? What is happening? What is happening? How much of an impact does, because it's still continuing, COVID-19 actually have on the economy? Now, very broadly, we have had responses of the sort of impact that COVID-19 can have on an economy. But in terms of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is it possible to say how much of our current situation, or how much COVID-19 contributes to our current situation? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. But this is very worrying. What is worrying is when the IMF outlines countries, it says the World Bank says the following nations are at high risk of overall debt distress. Africa, some of the countries there. Asia, the list 3. Island nations, Haiti. In terms of the Caribbean, Haiti, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are at high risk. Now, does it mean that the economic collapse or further economic downfall is a guaranteed? How do we prevent that from happening? Is it something that I can do to prevent that from happening? Is there something that a group of people could do? Maybe one sector? Or is this the sole responsibility of the government, of the Ministry of Finance, the Minister of Finance, of SVG? Who is responsible for either preventing the ship from sinking further, preventing the ship from sinking, or who is responsible for turning things around in SVG? It says here again, Bloomberg.com, Afghanistan and Ethiopia are among 30 nations at high risk of overall debt distress, while Grenada, Mozambique, Republic of Congo, some other countries there, are already experiencing it. So Caribbean countries, well, it only says one. So Grenada already in it. We're at high risk of getting into it. But how do we turn things around? Now, they're saying here in this article that we basically have to renegotiate with the countries, the rich countries, the countries that have a tremendous amount of money at their disposal, the countries that have given us loans, no matter the interest rate, the countries that have assisted us, the countries who we have to pay back them loans in our books. The country, SVG, now has to sit down and try to renegotiate or beg. Listen, things really tight. We're not getting any money like we normally do because, tourism ain't really kicking it right now. We're getting a little bit, but it's not enough because we have to service the existing bills. We're at high risk of getting to a point where we cannot pay our loans. And we just got another one. Just so we wouldn't be able to pay. every country has a cap. I remember the first time I said this, right? Moons ago. When, in terms of getting loans or debt financing, there is a cap, or there should be a cap. There should be a limit as to how much money the entity can borrow. Because at the end of the day, you have to pay it back. It has to be repaid. And you see, when they lend out money, do you think they're so concerned about how you paying it back once you're paying it back? Where are we in terms of our debt financing? How much money do we owe overall? Well, no budget coming up just now. Parliament on Wednesday, but we're expecting some disruptions, naturally speaking. Naturally, we'll expect that because, they're going to be paying tributes to the late Sir James Mitchell, and then next week again. But this real rough. Let me read out a response here. All right? Let me read something. Things been getting rough since 20 years ago. But I don't blame the government 100% for it. But what about the 40 million they're supposed to get? Well, it's already been approved. So I don't think that is going to affect anything as in our ability to get the money. I don't think that is going to be on the tables right now. So that is already set aside. But you know what I believe? I believe down the road, even if we as a nation sit down with other countries who have loaned us monies or entities and say, we may not be able to pay. Could we get some sort of either moratorium? I don't know how it works. Could you help us out a little bit? I feel like in order to continue, the money that is needed to service the country, it has to come from somewhere else. I feel like we might be going for more loans. It's either taxes or loans. Or you open up the country 100% and let things go. But the money has to come from somewhere. So it's either taxes, because they can't open the country. Although the country cannot open already. But we have restrictions, we have protocols, okay? Tourism, agriculture, foreign investment, taxes, grants or loans. Which road are we going to take? Can the individual Vincentian do something about this? Like you who are listening, you who are not in government, you're not a parliamentarian, you're not a politician. Could you do something about the overall economic state of SVG? Morning, Crystal. Morning. I'll get to you in just a bit, all right? This is craziness. This is real craziness. Wait, how could I forget remittances? Remittances. That is where we're going to have to get the extra money. If it's one thing I'm happy about, though, I'm happy that they're being honest with us this time. Because imagine we sitting down here, like normal, and hearing all of these things from the outside coming in. At least it kind of softened the blow. But right now, I just feel so... I don't even know how to feel about this. Y'all better hold on. You better hold on. Now, somebody has shared some solutions to this problem here. Let me share what they said can happen or should happen. All right? Payroll support to small businesses. Restrictive entry with the entire country open. Tax reduction, VAT and payroll. Tax reduction means less money going towards the government. In the short term, in the long term, it'll be more money because people will have more money to spend and they will spend more money and then they will get more taxes. I guess that is rational behind that one. Renegotiating our foreign debts. Well, request more foreign assistance from where? And you know what is going to happen again? Gas prices going to go up again. Gas prices going to go up again. They are going to increase further. And then when that happens, everything else is going up. So what do we do when there's inflation? Global inflation that trickles down. And by the time it trickles down to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it's probably 10 times the initial value. And then we deal with COVID-19. You guys really believe that we're going to come out in this in 2023? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is like another 7-10 years or so. Good morning. SVG has been going down a bad road years ago. Too many cooks in the kitchen. But I guess COVID will get all the blame. Well, realistically speaking, right? It has made it worse. Look at it, right? Look at it. It has made it worse. Now look at the cruise ships that have come in so far. When last you see a tourist walking the streets of Kingstown? When last? So you see the effects? The small man ain't getting the dollar, which means there's less money circulating. And you see how that leads to another problem? Come on, man. Come on, man. And this is coming from IMF. The current state that we're in and the state that we continue to be in, the trend that we're making right now, you have to blame COVID-19 for making things worse. The state that we catch it in, or they caught us in, now that's a different story. It's time to take a break, take in some music right here on The Wake Up Call, all right?